My hair is freshly washed. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going step by step on how to cut your curtain bangs and layers throughout your hair. This is a highly requested video and I am going to show you all my tips and tricks. Before we start, I just want to say that I am a licensed cosmetologist and I've been in the industry for almost a decade. Not only that, but I specialize in cutting hair. I just want to put that out there.
Cut at your own risk.
This is just how I cut my own hair at home. This is not how I would cut a client's hair at all. If you have seen one of these, get rid of it because we are not using a scissor to cut our hair today. We are going to be using a feather razor instead. This is a much more forgiving way to cut your hair. And also it gives you the chance to see what you're cutting before completely cutting a snip off. Not only that, it's much more difficult to create holes or create steps in your hair when cutting it with a feather razor. I'm gonna start with my face framing pieces first. I'm going in with my comb. You always wanna go on your natural part or wherever you part it normally, just so it's balanced on both sides. You don't wanna go over to the side and cut your angles this way because if you ever decide to flip it to the center,
it's gonna be wonky.
So I'm combing everything back. I'm going to push it forward to find my natural part. That is my natural part. So I'm gonna section the front area off first. So I'm gonna start at the top of my head and end at the top of my ear. And I'm just pinning that into place. I'm doing the same with the other side. So I'm just clipping the back of my hair so we don't cut any of that. So we're pretty much creating a small triangle in the front for our first piece, and that will be our guide for the rest of it. Just like that. This will be the first piece we're cutting. So start off by cutting less and then gradually work your way to cutting more. It's always better to do little at a time rather than taking a huge chunk off and then regretting it in the end. So all you're gonna do is comb it, figure out how much length you wanna take off. I wanna bring it to the top of my nose. So this is not gonna give off a blunt look. It's going to be a little bit jagged, but we want that. So I'm gonna hold it pretty taut right there and just go over it. Just like that. Once you have your front two pieces, you are going to separate it and bring it to the sides. I kind of went too short, guys. After I just told you,
don't go too short.
But it's okay because my hair grows extremely fast and I cut my angles all the time. Now that I have those two pieces separated, I'm just going to take another section. I'm gonna take those pieces together and over direct it over my face so you could see my shortest piece. So I know that, and I'm gonna let go of my shortest piece and just follow that guide all the way down. So it only took off this much hair. It's very little amount. So I'm gonna go in again and do one more pass to take off a little bit more. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm connecting the rest of my hair and I'm just gonna follow that guide all the way down. So I'm letting go of the last shortest piece I have and just following it all the way down my hair. I'm doing another pass. Obviously, guys, when doing this, make sure you are in front of a mirror. I am currently in front of my camera trying to see myself. So it creates a really symmetrical look just doing that alone. It's actually molding really nice already. So we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I'm just combing it through however much your hair could fit. So I'm letting go of the shortest piece and then I'm just gonna follow it all the way down. This is my shortest piece. Now I'm gonna connect the rest of it with that, letting go of the shortest piece, and I'm just sliding down slowly. Okay, I wanted to show you how this is air drying so far. It's really soft around my face and we're getting those face framing pieces so far. Before we connect it with the back, I just want to show you what it means to have the length start at your nose. So my shortest piece is at my nose, but you have to remember, hair always bounces up as it dries, and also depending if you have calyx or if you have natural volume in your hair, it will bounce up. So we cut it to my nose, but it's going to bounce up as we flip it back, as it naturally dries as well. So if you have curly hair, be careful on how short you go with it because it will spring up. So let's connect it with the back, going along my natural part and bringing that all the way back to my nape and splitting that into two. I'm just combing that all the way out. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing we were doing. This is my last shortest piece. I'm just gonna connect it If you have naturally straight hair, this is probably the best cut to have, especially if you like to see a ton of volume, a ton of movement in your hair, because this cut will absolutely give that, especially when styling. I'm just gonna go back over it again. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. Just make sure the ends are connected before we go in with the layers. So it should be just a diagonal, gradual angle all the way down. So it should feel really fluid. You should not see one long piece here and then a huge gap in between. So I also get asked, how do you get a bouncy blowout? How do you get so much volume in your hair? You need short angles and a lot of layers in order to create a really voluminous, bouncy blowout. The cut is so important. Now that our face framing pieces are all cut, we are gonna layer it. Of course, I am doing it on myself, so it's always a little bit challenging when you're doing your own hair at home. So I'm not gonna focus on the 4 fingers to the front because they're all short pieces because I have angles. So I'm just gonna square it off. So now I pretty much have a square box sectioned out at the top of my head. What we're gonna do is bring that hair all the way up. Don't worry if pieces fall out, especially if you have face framing pieces, because those are our shorter pieces just falling out. We're just gonna cut whatever our longest pieces at the top. This section is the most important section because this will determine how short the rest of your hair is going to be. Not length, but layer wise. So what I mean is determine how short you want your layers to be. So once I have that section, I'm just gonna bring it down and see how short I really want my layers to be. So I want to bring it up to maybe like 2 inches up. So I'm gonna take off around that much. So lay around here. So I'm gonna bring that all the way up and I'm gonna know to take off 2 inches. But remember, hair does spring up when it dries, and even when you blow dry it. Pay attention to that before cutting it. Take off less and then you could always work your way and do a little bit more after. I'll comb it all the way up, lock how much I want into place. So you're gonna hold it pretty tight. You're just gonna do a C motion to remove it. It comes out little bits at a time. So this way you could really see what you're doing before taking off a huge snip. These are definitely more forgiving. So now I released everything down, and that is our guide for the rest of our hair. So that is going to be the shortest our layers are gonna go. So what we're gonna do to connect it now is we're gonna go section by section, bring it up, lock it in place, bring it around, and just do that C motion just to make sure everything flows really smoothly. So we're just taking vertical pieces like that, over directing it, bringing it all the way up, and then stopping once I reach my shortest piece. So that's my shortest piece right there, and I'm just gonna connect it with the remaining hair. Make sure you're holding it really tight, going a little bit at a time. So it should be shorter to longer. So this way when you bring it down, it flows really nicely. We are gonna be doing that throughout the entire head. You are going through each section, bringing it all the way up. Of course, the front pieces are already shorter. They may fall out already, but you always wanna check. It's just a little bit, so I'm just connecting it slightly. So you're just doing that all throughout your hair, and the more times you go over it, the more precise it will be. I'm just connecting this piece with the previous section. I have a long hair, so I have to really stretch when doing this. So these are the shorter pieces from my right side. I'm just connecting it with the rest of the hair. It does not have to be perfect because we are using a razor. It is more forgiving. I just finished making sure all the layers are even, but if you want to take it a step further, you could always bring your fingers into your hair, pull it out, and you will feel if one side is longer. And also I'll like to connect it to check if all my layers are lining up. So I'll do section by section. I'll start at the top sections, see if it's lining up together, just because you want to make sure they're balanced all the way around. And that will give you a hint of where to go shorter or where not to. Feels good. I'm gonna quickly blow dry my hair and I'll be right back. Guys, I am absolutely obsessed. So this is how the front pieces turned out. Really soft, it's connected. I hope you guys found this tutorial easy to follow, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!